G'day there guys! Did you know that the human body is basically 90% water? And you know what that means? We're all cucumbers with anxiety, pretty much. Welcome back to the show, it's Markee with another r/AmiTheA episode. If you love today's content, tell me what you think of it down in the comments, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Posted by user, Money Trees Please. Titled, Am I the a-hole for abandoning my girlfriend on top of a mountain? I know this sounds bad, but hear me out on this one. It wasn't even a big mountain. Basically, I've been going on hikes alone on weekend mornings while my girlfriend eats pancakes. On Sunday, I went to do a peak that's easy if you're a vet like me, but still takes a few hours. I went early so I could be back for the football game at 1. I could not miss the game. So I woke up early to go, and my girlfriend gets up with me and is like, "Let's do it." And I was like, what? She gives me this whole spiel about trying to better herself and her body, which she gives me every year, but I still felt obligated to bring her. Before I agreed, I made sure she understood that it would be challenging and that I was going to be going at a brisk pace because I needed to be home in time for the game. I told her that if she wanted, we could do some lighter hikes later this week so she can ease herself into it, but she insisted she could keep up. But of course, it didn't go that way. She fell behind immediately, before the real ascent even began. I offered to turn around and tackle it another time, but she insisted she needed to just adjust the altitude change. Nope, it took us over 2 hours to get up, and she complained and begged for water the entire time. We got to the top, and I told her we needed to get down faster than we went up, because if we didn't, I was gonna miss kickoff. She got all pissy over that and was like, "Isn't spending time with me more important than the game?" I knew this was bait, so I just said back that I told her the conditions beforehand, and it wasn't respectful of her to slow me down like this. Then she got real mad, and basically shrieked across the entire peak that I might as well just leave her up there, and I was so angered and embarrassed by her that I did. I told her that ascent down was easier, and there were plenty of people around to help her if she needed it, and I headed back down the mountain alone. I felt bad, so I waited for her in the car and watched the game on my phone, and she didn't make it down until the 4th quarter, which I pointed out to her as soon as she opened the door. She won't talk to me now. I know my actions were hurtful, but her peak freakout had humiliated me, and I didn't know what else to do. Am I the a-hole? Edits, since people are asking, it was the Jets game. It's just unbelievable. Of course, I feel like this is bait. This can't be real. You of all people should know that she's not going to be able to do that in time. What were you thinking? She could have died and you would have been in the car being like, "Oh, guess she didn't make it to the car. I'm going to go home now. She's probably dead. I don't care." Of course you're the a-hole for this one. You've got a pea-sized brain, or you were just trying to get her killed. Maybe you're just trying to be the next one in the How to Make a Murder for Netflix or something, because this boggles the mind, it does. You're the a-hole. You brought her humiliating outburst on yourself. The way you talk about her wishes to better herself, calling it a spiel because she probably failed before, which maybe she could have accomplished with more support, tells me she doesn't have a lot of agency, nor real room in this relationship, since most of the oxygen is consumed by your ego. I hope she conquers many more peaks at her pace, so you can make it to all the games without failure on your own. Edit to add a few things that I wanted to clarify, because I do understand that I am not the best at extended paragraphs, and English isn't my first language. The "everyone sucks" here doesn't fit, in my opinion, because the entire post is dripping with disrespect and disdain. It's clear that the OP is with a person who is craving his attention and love, and in a relationship of years, that didn't happen by chance. If this is how this woman is described on text, to strangers, who knows what she gets to consume on a daily basis and how she is allowed to digest it. Of course, choices will be misguided, regardless of warnings. Many people have presented better opinions on here, but an experienced hiker could have and should have done a lot better than this, let alone a better boyfriend. Regardless, her spur-of-the-moment hiking itch was not about hiking, and it shows. Thank you for the votes and engaging comments. And someone replies to it, "Everyone sucks here. You nailed all the reasons that OP sucks, but the girlfriend sucks as well. It's great that she wants to better herself, but that doesn't excuse her from failing to communicate this in advance and springing it on him, ignoring his reasonable suggestion that she does a lighter hike or two to prepare for this more strenuous hike. Had she not sprung this on him last minute, this could have been done. And insisting on the trail itself that she can 100% do this and keep to the time limit. OP screwed up as well. He should have more strongly pushed back or given up on the game, and certainly not abandoned her. But don't let the girlfriend off the hook. Edit to add, I disagree with the person above's assessment on why this shouldn't be everyone sucks here. Those may be the reasons why she acted unreasonable and a-hole-ish, but it doesn't make it okay. If she's at the point where she's springing crap on him and making his day worse because she feels unappreciated, she should talk to him about it. Or, if she's already tried and nothing got better, love herself enough to leave. Instead of communicating directly, they approve of trying to indirectly manipulate OP. Not a mature way to handle this. Agreed. Reading between the lines, it sounds like these are two people in a venomous relationship. She wants to wreck his lone hobbies because she's angry at him for being a neglectful a-hole. Just split it up already. Posted by user No Baptism A-hole. Titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my wife her parents are not allowed to ever watch our son again? My wife and I have a 2-year-old son and have been married for 4 years. Our anniversary was a month ago, and we found a nice secluded cabin on Airbnb and rented it out for a long weekend getaway. My wife asked her parents if they would be willing to watch our son, and they agreed as long as we dropped him off at their house. That worked for us, since it was on our way in anyway. I was raised Lutheran, and my wife was raised Catholic, but neither of us currently go to church and have not had our son baptized. My mother-in-law knows this and hates it. She thinks our son needs to be baptized or he'll burn in hell. She's that kind of Catholic. So we go on our trip, and when we pick up our son and ask how the weekend went, mother-in-law says everything went fine, and that she's saved my son's soul from the devil. I ask her what she means, and she says that she had our son baptized that morning at her church. I tried my best to keep my cool so I didn't scream at mother-in-law in front of my son, but I pretty much grabbed my son and left. On the car ride home, I was fuming and told my wife as calmly as I could that this would be the last time her parents would have our son unsupervised. She tried to downplay what her mom had done, but I told her that we need to wait until we get home to talk about it because I'm not fighting in front of my kid. When we got home and had a chance to talk about it, things got heated. I told my wife that I no longer trust her parents with our son, and that if they did something like this behind our backs, I can't trust them to respect our wishes as parents in the future. I said this was a huge breach of trust, and I will forever look at her mum differently. She continued to try to defend her mum, saying that she was only doing what she thought was best for her grandson. She even downplayed it by saying that it's just a little water and a few words, and we don't go to church anyway, so what does it matter? I told her that under no circumstances will I allow her parents to watch our son by themselves again. I said that we can still let them see their grandson, but only if we are present. I also said that if she doesn't see what the big deal is with this situation, that maybe we aren't on the same page as parents, and maybe we need to see a counselor. She started crying and said that this isn't the kind of decision I get to make on my own, and I'm an a-hole for trying to tell her what kind of relationship her parents can have with our son. I told her that I no longer have any trust or respect for her parents, and that I don't know if there's anything they can do to repair that. I told her I don't care if that makes me an a-hole, but what her parents did was unforgivable in my eyes, and they put themselves in this position to lose privileges with our son. She's been trying to convince me to change my mind for the last month, but I am not budging. To me, this is a hill I'm willing to die on. I just recently covered another story like this not too long ago, and my thought for this one is the same as that. I think it's wrong that the parents did that to the child, and I think they deserve whatever the parents can agree on and deem necessary as punishment for doing that. Because these grandparents acted maliciously and without care for the wishes of the parents, I don't think OP would be the a-hole for telling his wife that her parents are not allowed to ever watch our son again. I mean, it's probably not going to be the final compromise, but I don't think you're an a-hole for at least putting that on the table. So yeah, not the a-hole. These types of baptisms violate church law, and if it actually was done by their priest, you should contact the bishop and file a complaint. And they have a link here that says, "Is a secret baptism against the parents' wishes the right thing to do?" No. In fact, the church prohibits a secret baptism without the knowledge or approval of the parents. I did not know this. Thank you for this. I will be doing that ASAP. I was going to say something along these lines as well. There were a number of hoops to jump through when my kids were baptized. One of these things included going to a class and signing paperwork. It's possible your mother-in-law was lying, or that it's not an official baptism. You can't just pop into a Catholic church and demand a same-day baptism. Something seems really off here. To a degree, and I say this as a lapsed and no longer practicing Catholic and a godmother to 2 Episcopalian kids. If the grandmother convinced the priest there was some kind of duress or mitigating circumstance, a priest could theoretically perform a baptism with the holy water found by most Catholic church entrances. Priests perform in situ baptisms on infants in NICU regularly, and those are rarely scheduled ahead of time. There's a SparkNotes version of the ritual that's meant for dire circumstances. It's a reach, but methinks that Grandma has a family priest who she's probably talked to about her wayward daughter or bad influence of a husband, and that's how we got here. Boundaries have unquestionably been trampled though, and regaining them, if OP so chooses, is going to be a battle of Old Testament proportions. Posted by user Relative Permission 5, titled, "Am I the a-hole for giving my son a bill for half his expenses?" My son, 17, asked me for a new gaming system, and I said no because he already has plenty of gaming systems and games and doesn't need more. If he wants one, he can save up and buy one. He then comes to me with a budget on how we can afford the system. It was mostly just that if I buy nothing for myself for 2 months, we will have enough for the system. I told him hell no, it's offensive, and if he wants the system, he has to save up for it. Then he comes back with another budget. He and his father calculated how much I've been paid in child support over the years, and they decided it would be a good idea to let me know how little a drop in the bucket the gaming system would be. I told him I spent that on his expenses every month, but he didn't believe me. So I told him that if he doesn't think so, he can pay me for his expenses every month and I'll give him the child support. Surprise, surprise, when I gave him the bill, it showed that when you factor in all of the things I pay for in a month, it's much more than child support. Child support doesn't even cover 30%. Now my ex is yelling at me for making our son feel like an expensive burden, but I think I was teaching him a lesson about money and unteaching him some of what my ex says about support. Am I the a-hole for giving him a bill? Edit to add, not able to comment, but just wanted to say that this isn't a question of being able to afford the console. I can afford it, but that doesn't mean he should just get it. I would just say, in these circumstances, it could be an a-hole move to be dragging your son into an issue that should be just about you and your ex-partner. I'm not completely sure that it is an a-hole move in this circumstance, though I don't support them dragging him into the child support debate. But at the end of the day, these two know their son, they know what he's going to want, and they probably know how to shut down him nagging for a computer system. If he now understands his expenses and giving the ex a bill and everything has calmed down now, I would say in this circumstance, that would be a not the a-hole in my books, but it really depends on the dynamic of the family and the people involved. Not the a-hole. If his father wants to interject, why doesn't he just buy the system? That being said, I would sit down and explain that he isn't a burden, but new gaming systems are a luxury item. You can maybe help him come up with a strategy to save his own money, or suggest he take on work outside the home. He's going to be an adult soon. Replying to why doesn't he buy the system? because his whole point was, I pay child support already. That should go to the gaming system. Why am I stuck paying for things for this kid when I already do the legal minimum? Which is why the OP's response was great, fighting resentment with facts. When I met my daughter's father, my ex-husband got all mad, saying that he was paying too much for my son. I told him if he didn't want to pay the amount he was paying me, I was perfectly willing to take what was listed in the divorce decree. He happily agreed, until the next month when I asked for an extra 20%. Seems he forgot that he was supposed to pay for things like half my son's medical, and I wasn't charging him for that. After seeing that, he was perfectly happy to go back to the smaller amount he was paying me. Well, at least until he had a son with his new wife, but that's a whole different story. Not the a-hole. Your ex isn't upset that you made your kid feel like an expensive burden, which you didn't, by the way. He's mad because he was trying to make you look bad and it backfired royally. He's been telling your son that you've been spending all that child support money on yourself. All this budgeting talk that your boy came up with? That was just your ex trying to paint you as a neglectful, selfish parent. What he hoped would happen is that you would cave and buy him the gaming system so he didn't have to, while simultaneously planting little seeds of friction in your relationship with your son, and he would come out as the good guy who helped his son get what he wanted. It would have been a win-win for him. Only, he didn't count on you having such a detailed budget. Now his son knows that mama is the real provider, and that by default makes him look like he's unable to fully support his son, and/or that he weaseled his way out of paying his fair share. Your ex is basically just super butthurt that this all blew up in his face. Your son is just your typical butthurt teenager. It'll pass. Posted by user GlitteringRooster682, titled, Am I the a-hole for standing my family up after they didn't invite my girlfriend to my birthday party? A week ago, I turned 23. I've been with Rye, nickname, for 5 years, engaged for 2 and living together for 3. Rye is 27. Rye has really been my rock. She encouraged me to go to university, let me move in with her when I couldn't cope with my parents, and gave me the push I needed to accept myself and be happy. She's just this great woman, but maybe I'm biased. We've never been a family to really celebrate birthdays. I'd get something small and a card, and that would be it. But for whatever reason, my mother wanted to celebrate this birthday, and I agreed. I let her and my sister arrange everything. A week before my birthday, I get told that Rye wasn't invited because my grandmother and mother don't like her. Age difference, and they think she turned me, and that maybe we could do 2 meals, one with my siblings and Rye, and one with my family. But then my other sister texted me an hour later, saying she'd talked to the family about inviting Rye. A few days before my birthday, she said it was a no-go, but they'd arranged something else to include Rye. Rye was fine with not being invited, but I'm not. I just decided to drop it and just didn't turn up. Now my family are texting me, saying that I've embarrassed them, and that I could have done something with Rye later on, and that I'm being manipulative. I'd ignore this, but Rye is upset that I've made them think that she's behind this, and they'll blame her for it. Sorry for not making it clear. I am a woman, not a man, so yes, them accusing her of turning me is them accusing her of turning me gay. Am I the a-hole? I do think that you're the a-hole for making it seem like Rye is behind this, and you not fessing up to the fact that you are in fact behind this. I don't think that's fair on Rye, but they're also a-holes in this situation for doing this to you in the first place, and putting you in this position. I just feel like you could have gone about this situation in a better way that doesn't incriminate Rye. So for that reason, I'm going to say everyone sucks here. I agree with Rye. They'll think that she was behind this, and no amount of saying otherwise will convince them now. You'll just be protesting too much. Should have made it clear from the beginning it was both or nothing, and it would have helped your sister's negotiations too. Saying it's both or neither. Edit. It's been pointed out that I didn't pass judgment, so I'm going with everyone sucks here. While the family are total and complete a-holes, OP is old enough to be engaged, and therefore old enough to act more maturely. Support your wife to be OP. She'll be your family, and the rest of them will either accept it or they won't. But there isn't much you can do either way about them, apart from ignore and live your best life with your soon-to-be wife. They're going to blame Rye for everything anyway. They've already been doing that. Yup, there isn't anything OP could have done that wouldn't have resulted in them feeling that justified in their hatred of Rye. Especially with the fact that they've never really celebrated birthdays. Seems like this was just a random way to exclude her. But you do have to make sure they know it was you and not her. Don't add fuel to the fire. Don't add fuel to the fire? Nah, I'd add fuel, light a match and watch it burn. Might even roast a few marshmallows. I'm so tired of tolerating bigots and a-holes simply because they're family. Grandma is a homophobe and doesn't want my wife around? Cool. You do you, Grandma, and you won't be seeing either of us. Mum and cousin Joe don't like my wife and don't want her at a family function? Cool. Neither of us will be there. Think you're gonna invite her to appease me and then treat her badly or make her uncomfortable? You had one shot. That'll be the last time you see me. We need to stop giving other people the power to hurt us. You don't like the person I love? You're a disrespectful jerk? You make me and her uncomfortable. Why would I want to be around people like that? Just because we're connected by some genetic link, I'm supposed to accept abuse of myself and the person I love? Don't think so, buddy. Okay, and I think that's where we're going to end today's episode, guys. As always, I do hope you enjoyed it, and maybe even learned something from these stories. Just want to say a quick shout out to my Patreon subscribers and my channel members. You guys should be on the screen right now. If you do see yourself, I want you to give yourself a little pat on the back for being amazing and supporting me on this channel, this little journey we're going on the YouTubes. I really appreciate it, and you guys enabled me to do all this amazing work. So if you do see yourself, I love your face and I'm happy to see you. Also guys, if you want to pitch in your own support, you don't have to, but channel links are down in the description below to support the Patreon, the channel membership, whatever you want to do. It's kind of like tipping me if you feel like I'm doing a good job on this channel. I will be opening up avenues for content on those in the future. Just right now I'm kind of bogged down and stuck in Ireland, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway guys, with that said, I do hope you have a wonderful day today. Whatever you're up to, I'd love to know down in the comments below. I do hope you have a good day, night, sleep. Whatever you're up to today, tell me, and I'll see you in the next episode, guys. Bye.